Okay. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Spark Rentals Facebook Live and podcast. And as you see, Brian's not here. We have a guest, and this is Sayge Grubbs, and he has joined us before, so you might remember him. Sayge is a licensed attorney in Alabama, and he has over a decade on a lot of asset protection experience. He's an accredited business intermediary and a certified advanced business exit planner. I know I have learned a ton from him through the years.
Well, thank
And he's got a wealth of knowledge. So today we're going to be primarily talking about covering your assets and especially for seniors, or we're all going to get there eventually. I'm getting really close. I just had a birthday. So I'm going to hand this over to Sayge, and he's going to let us know a little bit about how to cover our assets.
Well, thank you, Denny and Brian. We miss you. But yeah, I started CYAstrategies.com mainly because it was the perfect mixture or the perfect storm between helping real estate investors, which I have a lot of clients that are doing short-term rentals or long-term rentals and flips. And then I also do, as part of my law firm, Medicaid planning for seniors, right? At least I call it Medicaid planning because a lot of business owners and a lot of people, until COVID, they didn't see the value in going ahead and getting their assets protected, right? And doing it ahead of time. But you always had that small crowd, which is growing now, due to baby boomers, but you always had that small crowd that was either in an assisted living or were headed to a nursing home or were having illnesses that was putting them in and out of the hospital, or maybe they had people coming in to take care of them. And the big thing is you have a lot of caregivers, a lot of people with full-time jobs, men, women over the age of 40 who are actually taking care of these seniors. And with that being said, it was like, okay, what is their biggest asset, right? And to most people, you may have a 401k, IRA, those types of things, but real estate is usually someone's largest asset.
Absolutely.
So whether it's rental properties or whether it's just your home, a lot of times the real estate is what they're trying to protect, and that's what they wanted to pass on. So that's how I kind of got started and doing the CYA strategies. And, we do it, I call it CYAstrategies.com because we help business owners, we help real estate investors, and we help seniors that are looking to go into a long-term care facility. And CYA stands for cover your assets or control your assets, either way.
Let me ask you a question. With there's insurance against nursing, like if you have to go in a nursing home and things like that. Is this a better strategy, or does it go along with something like that?
Well, that's a great question. So if you have long-term care insurance, that's great. But the problem is most people, by the time they want to get it or need it, they don't qualify. The other issue is that long-term care insurance is very expensive and we're living much longer. So the insurance companies themselves kind of stop doing long-term care. So you have to find and work with work with some sort of fiduciary, financial advisor, not just a typical insurance person. And at that point, you can actually find, if you have cash available, you can actually find some ways to still have like a life insurance / long-term care plan or policy, right? But yeah, that's the main thing is when people need it, they don't qualify for it. So if you have it, we look at it and we help you with it. But the main thing that we do is we put those real estate investors with the people that are needing to sell that house and receive some sort of inheritance for their family.
Nice. Nice. So how does your strategies help protect the senior?
Well, CYA for seniors, again, as part of CYA Strategies, if you are a real estate investor, what are we always taught, Denny? You're looking for what? A motivated seller, right?
Exactly. Yep.
All right. So if you're dealing with a family who has a loved one that they know is not going to be returning home, or, they are having some condition or some issue to where they may be at home, but they can't really take care of them like they want to at home, right? So at that point, this person's very motivated because what they're going to learn is, in order to qualify and get Medicaid, which pays for the majority of people in nursing homes across America, in order to qualify for that, a lot of times what Medicaid will tell you is that we're going to put a lien on your house. Okay.
Yes.
And 9 out of 10 people, they cringe when they hear that, they're like,
Not only
okay.
that, I'm going through something like this with my mother, and they look back 5 years.
Yes. Yes.
This is
The
crazy.
Medicaid look back. Yes. And so what happens is they look back over 5 years just to see what this person's done with their money for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell people, so for instance, you may have a habit of giving every grandchild $100. That Medicaid person may look and go, well, wait a minute, these are uncompensated gifts. So now we're going to penalize you for giving out those Christmas gifts. And what I found was I would have people, sometimes they would send them to me from the facility, or sometimes dementia friendly, or someone would send them to me, and they would just, be taken back by the fact that the only way mama or daddy could qualify was if Medicaid got a lien on the house. And, they're saying, well, wait a minute, we've already spent a lot of mom and daddy's money because they were in an assisted living or independent living, right, or we had people come into the house and help. And now we got to give the house away. That's not something that sits well with people,
Right.
And so when COVID happened, a lot of people woke up and they were like, well, let's do a estate plan. Let's get this done. Let's get that done. But also what happened was a lot of people pulled family members out of facilities, and then they had to pay out of pocket for them to be kept at the house, right? Or they were keeping them themselves or helping out. But then when they got ready to put them back in the facility, they might not have initially qualified for Medicaid. And now they're going, okay, we can get qualified for Medicaid now because we've spent a bunch of money. Well, that lien on the house thing, that hurts, right? And what they found out was if you don't sell that house in the right way, then you can mess up mama or daddy getting qualified for Medicaid. And if they are a veteran and will qualify for what's called VA aid and attendance, you can mess that up also.
Wow.
So what I was able to do, and the reason why I say this is a national thing, I know Medicaid's national. I'm in a lot of different national legal organizations where we just concentrate on helping the elderly. But I also help real estate investors. And so I kind of found that hole or that gap where I was like, these people have houses and they're motivated sellers. These people have cash or can get their hands on cash, and they want a good deal on a house or a property.
Let me ask you this though: so somebody comes, they buy their house with cash. There's still a paper trail or whatnot. So would the Medicaid people still see that transaction?
Yes. So, and here's the thing: this is where it's like the perfect storm for me personally, because all of my expertise on helping these separate types of clients now mesh. The thing is this: I understand that Medicaid is a federal program. Mm-hmm. Now, each state partners with Medicaid in order to kind of create their own local state type of program, right? Mm-hmm. But the basics are federal. And that's the key. The basics are federal. So it doesn't matter what state you're in. There's certain things like the 5-year look back and things like that that are just basic. So getting rid of the house is a way to ensure that people can receive an inheritance who normally would not have. And there's certain things that I know how to do just because I'm a elder law, Medicaid planning, asset protection, real estate asset attorney, to where I can take those basic rules and help them find, a investor or someone to take the property, and they get a discount on the property, and then still put a plan together for them to get on Medicaid and for them to know how many months they may have to pay out of pocket or how many months it's going to take for them to actually get Medicaid to pay for them to be in the facility.
Now, let me ask you this. Somebody who is not quite a senior yet, but is approaching that area, 60s or whatnot, would you be able to help them put strategies and plans in place that they would be able to, bypass some of these things ahead of time instead of?
Yes, certainly. So there's no time like the present to plan, right? And so we use some asset protection trust. I like to call it a CYA Trust. And we use that trust a lot of times to go ahead and protect things like your house and things like that. So when you do it early enough, that 5 years has passed. And since that 5 years has passed, Medicaid cannot see what's actually in your trust by the time you get ready to apply. So, it's like you have a secret box, whether it could have $100 in there or it could have $1 million mansion in there. The thing is, you did it a long time ago, 5+ years ago. And so at that point, they don't have the right to say anything about it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
and especially for real estate investors, because real estate investors, a lot of times, they try to liquidate as they get older, or they try to give it to family or things like that. If you do it through a trust,
right,
take your LLC or whatever you own can actually be owned by a trust, which adds a complete double layer of asset protection. And it's the best way actually to protect yourself as a real estate investor and to completely separate your personal liability from your business liability of actually being a real estate investor. I always call it the LLC trap, because people don't understand, even though you may have an LLC or S Corp, that is still a personal interest. And because it's a personal interest, I always tell people that's not a true separation of your personal from your business. Because if you're personally attacked, that personal interest can be attacked also.
Right. I remember you saying that before in some of our broadcasts together. So what exactly can, people that are watching and real estate investors that we know, what can they do to protect themselves? Like, how do they contact you or?
Yeah. So on CYAstrategies.com.
I did put the link in the chat just for anybody.
All right. There's a form on there. You can fill that form out. And, if you are a real estate investor and you're like, hey, I need to figure out how to protect myself because all I have is LLCs or houses in my own name, and I would like a added level of protection, we're there to help you put a CYA strategy in place. Awesome. If you are a real estate investor and you come across a realtor, because realtors don't understand Medicaid, it's not their job. And, even if you're working with a realtor that's a senior real estate specialist, they don't understand Medicaid. They understand the issues of seniors, but not necessarily how to get them qualified for Medicaid, right? So if you come across those things, go in there, fill it out. We'll be happy to help. If you are a caregiver and you're like, hey, I need help with mom or dad, and I'm thinking about putting them in the facility, and of course, their biggest asset is this house.
Right.
And even if it's not the biggest asset, a lot of times the house may not be the biggest asset when you start going down this path, but by the time you spend all the money, and you liquidate stuff and you go through the medical bills. At some point, that house becomes the biggest asset. And most people just do not want to just hand that house over to Medicaid, right?
Right.
And
how often do you see this changing? Yeah, because it's the government, so they're changing daily. I mean, but like the 5-year look back, how long has that been in effect?
5-year look back has been there for about a decade.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been there for a while. I don't think they are going to do anything different anytime soon because they're getting a lot of pushback right now with nonprofit organizations basically saying, hey, it needs to be easier to get on Medicaid, right? And what they did a few years ago, if anything, was they actually strengthened Medicaid being able to come back, after someone passes away and opening up a probate and going after the state so they can get paid back, which is called Medicaid recovery, right? So they strengthened that up a few years ago, and now there's pushback from that. So, which again, that's why I like doing the CYA strategies to help these people. Case in point, just a quick case study. I had a client who had family here in Alabama, and they were in California. And the realtor and the nursing home lady just told them, hey, there was nothing that could be done. They had mom and dad in an assisted living, and they were about to transfer them to the nursing home. And they told them, just do what the lady at the nursing home says. Just, go ahead, let Medicaid put the lien on the house. We're going to put some money in a pooled trust, and then they'll just walk in. Well, it didn't sit well with him, with the son, because he was like, that's the house I grew up in, and he said, if they didn't pay anything else when we were growing up, they made sure we had that house, and he did not want to give that house away. So luckily he talked to a different realtor, and that realtor sent him to me, and we got that house sold to a cash deal real estate investor within like 14 days, which is good because when you're doing, see, here's another trick. When you're doing the Medicaid application, you have to be in a facility for 30 days, right? And you have to list on that application every single thing that you own. So if it's a house, LLC, it doesn't matter, business, doesn't matter. You have to list it all, right? So if you get that house sold within 30 days, you don't even have to put the house on the Medicaid application.
Oh, okay.
You see what I'm saying? So they're not going to put a lien on it because it's cash. You know what I mean? So we put a plan in place for them to where, their parents own that house. We sold it it was at a discount, but it was at a discount that we knew Medicaid would accept because we followed their rules, right? And the investor was elated because they got a great property. And then the family was elated because realized this house was just going to go to Medicaid, but they were able to put close to 20 grand in their pocket and pay for their mom's funeral because, mom had not prepaid or anything. And within a few days of being in the nursing home, mom passed away. And they were like, Sayge, if we had not done these, CYA for seniors, at this point, we would be coming out of pocket $9,000 to pay for mom's funeral. So they were elated. So that was a family that basically was not supposed to have an inheritance if they'd done it the way everybody told them to do it.
Right.
They came to us and we helped them, and they walked away with a funeral paid for, another funeral prepaid for, and about 12 grand in their pocket.
One more question. Can trusts help in this circumstance? Like if you want to give these things to your kids, like a house, for instance?
Yeah. A trust is people get them confused sometimes, but a trust is a will substitute, right? The main difference is a trust helps you now. Okay. Mm-hmm. So when you're doing any type of asset protection or any type of planning, you would like to have a trust involved. The trick is you have to have the right trust involved. There's a lot of trust gurus out there. You got to be careful where you get your trust from. I had a guy come in a month ago, and he bought a trust offline. I'm not going to say the name of the company, but he brought it to me to read because he couldn't get a bank to actually accept his trust. And the first thing I read was this trust, which is a red flag, says that it can't be created by an attorney, right? All right. Well, trust law itself is federal law, so you would want an attorney to create something under federal or state law. Then this trust also said that it wasn't governed by any state law. It was governed by nature. All right?
Nice.
It was governed by nature. And at that point, I just looked at him and I said, you basically got robbed. That's, like that was my legal opinion at that point, was you were robbed. And he paid good money for that trust. But you have to find the right type of trust. And the trust that we use is asset protection trust, but it allows you to actually be in control and be the trustee. A lot of asset protection trusts don't allow you to be in control and be the trustee, which costs you extra every year because now you got to pay somebody to do things on your behalf. But the one that we use, you actually get to be in control. And it does its job in that you don't necessarily have to ask your CPA or your attorney or what have you, and you still enjoy your asset protection, and you still can receive the income, out of the trust, out of your LLC. So it's the best of both worlds. You can have your cake and eat it too, is what I like to say. You can own the business, completely separate it, or own the house and completely separate it from your personal assets and stay in control.
Right. Wow. Well, with that being said, we got to close up soon, but I would like everybody to know your contact information. We do have and I'm actually going to put it in again for everyone, the link that you can go and fill out a form, and Sayge you'll contact them, correct?
That's right.
Yes.
We'll receive an email and we'll get in touch with you.
So, and that's for any kind of question. Sayge is great with all asset protection. So, I know he's helped a lot of people I know. So reach out to him. And Sayge, I thank you so much. I thank you because this is something that everybody needs to know.
Thank you. And I'm excited because CYA Strategies, we're just getting started. But like I said, I've been doing this for a while, and I just saw the hole there where you have real estate investors looking for motivated sellers, and you have families who are motivated, but the last thing they want to do is mess up mom or dad's chances of actually getting on Medicaid, or getting on VA aid and attendance. And, it actually, to me, it's a win-win for everyone.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. It's all about protecting you work hard for this stuff. You certainly don't want to lose it.
Just give it away. Yeah. That's what I tell everybody. It's like, I have not met a family yet who just said, I don't care. Just let, the government or whomever take it and have it. I haven't met them yet.
That's for sure. So thank you again, Sayge, and thank you everybody for joining us. Again, the link is in the chat. And you all have a nice Tuesday. And thank you again, Sayge.
Thank you, Danny. Bye, Brian, wherever you are.
He's camping.
Oh, there we go. World traveler.
Everybody have a nice day.
You too.